Hey, it's weight loss coach Charles D'Angelo. With all the talk about weight loss drugs, ways to transform your life, I think you're going to particularly find this interview incredibly inspiring with my client, actor and comedian Tom Arnold, talking about not only how he lost 80 pounds in the program, but how he's continuing to keep it off 3 years later. Check it out.
Hey, buddy. How are you, man?
Good.
Here I am. Whoa. Fancy.
Tom, my understanding is this whole new world of yours, this journey, has began with a stroke. But I want to go back before that a little bit. Tell me a little bit what your life was like when you were 80 pounds heavier and living the life you were living before all of this began to happen.
Well, I grew up in Iowa, worked on farms, worked at a meat packing plant. You know, it's a different lifestyle there. And before, I played sports and stuff, so I ate way too much, but I played sports, so it was like, I didn't gain weight. I weighed 175 when I was a senior in high school, I was a quarterback. But then once I started to get out in the real world, I still ate like that, and then I started to put on weight. So there's been 3 times in my life that I've gained 100 pounds and lost it.
But you're in show business. Portly doesn't always sell in show business.
It's funny because I've had friends like Chris Farley, who's my best man at my second wedding, who really feared that if he lost weight, that he wouldn't be funny. Now we know that's BS, but it became a big problem for him. You know, the thing about being in show business, it's the way you look. You cannot, if you're not in show business, you can look in the mirror, just look at your eyes. But if you're in show business and people are taking your picture all the time, you're aware of what, you're like, oh my God, how did I do that? And I think when the public has an image of you as a big person and you lose weight, it takes a moment. They're like, whoa, what happened? So it is possible to get healthy and still be funny.
So aside from your experience with Farley, what else changed it for you?
The stroke was interesting because during COVID, the kids were home, we were homeschooling, and I really did not pay any attention to my physical self. And I didn't realize how big I'd gotten because if your kids are the only people that see you with your shirt off, there's not as much pressure. And so I was giving them a bath one night. They in there, they shoot some baskets, and I'm like, whoever gets out first wins. And I do a thing where I turn to the bathroom door and I count to 10. And when I turned back around, this eye, felt like a curtain came down. And I thought maybe I'd punch myself in the eye. So I get him out of there. Half my vision comes back. And I thought, well, I'm a dad. I better drop the kids to school, which I did carefully. And then go down to UCLA and have my eye guy see what's up. And he shoots some dye at me and he's like, you've had a stroke, which is like something I expected to hear one day, but damn. Charles had reached out before. And I was like, I'm not quite ready. I got this stuff for the kids and whatever. And then after the stroke, I'm like, I'm ready. Let's try this. And he said, you will lose 80 pounds in 6 months or what? By July, I'm like, there is no way. There is no way. And I almost was like, this guy's nuts. But he knew I'd be filming with Arnold that next summer. He said, I want you to be at your original True Lies weight. I'm like, this is just, we start doing, I do what he says. Slow. I'm a little apprehensive on the physical stuff because of the stroke. I'm like, which is a kind of an addict thing to do. Like, I don't want to get healthy. Something might happen. So all of a sudden, a couple months in, I'm like, what? Something is happening. This weight is coming off. And then we got to July and it had come off. It was in shock.
Is it fair to say that when you first met Charles, because you're a celebrity, and I'm sure people are coming on to you for one reason or another for a lot of things, were you suspicious of his approach?
He really worked to get to me. And, I'd go, who's this guy, man? I'm not ready. I gotta, and I'm grateful he stayed on it. I have people, plus, however I looked at Arnold's, I've had women come up to me at parties and go, My husband's a dermatologist. You should see him. I'm like, God dang it, what? I know I got, but I knew it was time, and I took a leap of faith because I think I know how to do everything. I think I know the way, but I did a leap of faith that he genuinely achieved even more than he promised.
My daughter was a client of Charles, and she said the one thing, lasting memory she has is he's tough. He's tough.
Yeah, he is.
How tough was he on you?
Yeah, he is assertive. There's no like, oh, I'm feeling nothing. You got to get back at it. Here's what I need. Which is great, which is what you want from a coach. There's no, just because he's in St. Louis and I'm in L.A., I can't get away with, the distance. Okay, he's not standing outside the door. Let me do my thing. But also, he's an impressive specimen. He sent a picture of himself, which I thought was not, I thought he created this picture with AI, how big he was when he was younger. I mean, it's crazy, that picture. And so then I have a lot of respect for it because he has been there, which it means a lot to me. If someone's going to help someone with drugs or alcohol, knowing they have had that experience, you listen to them more. If someone's been a very, very big person and has turned it around, because it doesn't seem like he could, doesn't seem like his skin would work anymore. He was so big, and he's like got a perfect chiseled body. So what can I say?
Is there a routine you follow every day following his process?
In the perfect world, I get up before my kids, which is hard sometimes, do an hour of cardio. We started lower because I was at first like, I had this stroke. I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I've always done a lot of cardio, but you build up to that. If I have a perfect day, I do that. Then I have my medicine. Then I have my shake. And then you get some treats in there, maybe some walnuts or something. But when I was first on it, I got a half a Subway sandwich with a lot of meat on it. And I think that helped me so much because that's real to me. Oh, you get that within this stuff? I really look forward to that. And it was a real thing I could get anywhere. And so it was very helpful. And if I put on a couple pounds and say, let's not eat bread at that, here's 8 ounces of this, 6 ounces of this. But it's blocked out over the day, including at night when you have this all fruit treat that he would say, I know, even if you're not hungry, eat it. That was really good advice to have something that seemed like sugar at night. And then I've been satisfied. I'm not cheating myself on anything.
How often do you check in and go through that process of making sure you're staying on track?
Every 2 weeks.
What's that like?
We talk a little bit about life, what's going on, I think the idea is, why are you eating? What triggers you to go, I'm hungry? Are you hungry, or is it some emotional thing? And we talk that over. He's gotten to know my kids. Sometimes it's a therapy session. I don't know if that's what he wants, but that's what he gets. And he does listen. So when I'm done, I'm feeling good. It's like there are certain things, doing my cardio, sometimes like, I don't want to do that. But every time I'm done, I feel good. Or going to a 12-step meeting or talking to Charles, I'm like, okay, that's good.
What people have to understand is this really is a multifaceted program. It's not just one thing or one or two things. It's a whole bunch of things, including the willpower on the part of someone like yourself to stick with it.
Yeah, you just gotta, it just has to be a part of your life. Charles has to be a part of your life. He's got to be that guy, that shadow there too, that great big dude. But also the fact that my kids are aware of it, they're very encouraging. They used to, when we first started this, I'd say, kids, I got to do some time on the elliptical. And every other time I'd start, they'd get right in front, I had the headphones on, they'd be right here arguing. And then I have to take the headphones off and deal with their thing. And then I tried to explain, I need this, your dad needs this. And the next day they were out arguing in front of me. And my son said to my daughter, stop, we need to stop this. Dad needs this for his mental health. And, it's been like that. So, but, it's the whole family. We all do it. And it's good. I can see the results on my kids.
You're telling me that support is also important. It's not only Charles, but you have to have support in your immediate environment.
Well, people that love you care, and they're happy that you're doing better. And you don't have to have a massive circle of people.
Do you remember the moment, the time, the day you hit 205 in weight?
Yes. Yeah, I had, yes, I had my assistant Sasha, who was a small person, like younger, athletic, take a picture, and I had an Iowa, I think loyalty, Iowa, I went to the University of Iowa, and there's a stain on the shirt. And Sasha's like, I think you're a stain. I go, that's the shirt, that's the picture, that's the moment. There's a stain on it, but that is the moment. So just kind of a lot of gratitude, a lot of, was proud, heard from a lot of people, and felt good. And, I have not felt bad since. I haven't felt like I'm out of control. Sometimes I've you get out of the road, you aren't 100% with this or that. He's really good about saying, you got to be 100%.
What has all of this, Tom, meant for you professionally?
This is the first stand-up tour I've done in years, long before COVID. And it's grueling, let me tell you. It's a different town. We're in St. Louis. Last night it was Louisville. The night before it was Chicago, Detroit, Fort Worth, Dallas, Montana. Like, you got to be up for it. And you have to go. I go for an hour and 15 minutes each show with the audience, so that I spend an hour and a half with them after. And they deserve, sometimes there's 2 shows a night. There's no, oh, I'm tired, I can't. There's like, I got to do this. This is what I want to do. And I'm not sure I could have done that when I was younger. I used to do it when I was drinking or doing drugs and thinking I did a good job, but there's no way.
What do people who knew the old Tom say to you about the new Tom?
I think because it's been going on 4 years, 3.5 years, that it's just people probably think this is how it always has been. It's hard to go back, and I have to deal with that myself too. I have more patience. I limit I don't have to do everything, and it helps having kids, but I have a smaller world, which I like. It's the kids, do this, do that, and I genuinely like that. So when I do go out, to do shows or act or stuff, I try to be the best I can be and have the best temperament.
Yeah, once again, it just seems to me that your support system is extraordinarily important to this whole process.
Well, it is, and I have several support systems. I mean, number one, Charles, but I have my 12-step guys. I have guys that I've sponsored or help out, or I have my service stuff that I do. A lot of it with Arnold. We give out 10,000 gifts every Christmas down in South Central. We raise money for after-school programs. All of that adds to my self-esteem, which is all a part of this. Because I haven't always had that, So my dream is to be excellent at whatever I do, if it's acting, stand-up, parenting, and it's just a lot easier when I start with, okay, I feel good about this guy.
You ever worry about slipping back?
Well, you got to be aware. I'm fully capable. Got to be aware, and I see it happening with people, and I've done it before. So, I just have to equate that with death. So, I think the more I'm on top of it, the better. It's not something that's always, like there's a voice in my head that genuinely wants to kill me. And the more positive things I do, the quieter that voice is. But if I start, slacking off a little bit, not sleeping, doing this, running around too hard, it gets a little louder, and it's tricky because it'll trick you into that. So I have an awareness about that.
You're living in LA now?
Mm-hmm.
That would be a tough place, I would think, in many ways. People in your business in particular work hard at looking good. Mm-hmm. But there's also a lot of other stuff going on in which you were, a world you were part of at one time.
Well, when I did drugs and drank, I thought everybody did drugs and drank. And then when I stopped, I thought nobody did. LA there's a lot of opportunity to get in trouble, but there's a great sober community out there, a great wellness community. physical fitness, compared to where I grew up in Iowa. When I take the kids to school in the morning, every mom, they're dropping the kids. They don't walk the kids to the gate like I do. They're like, get out of here. I got a class. I got another. And they kill it. And they consistently do it every day. That's not something I grew up with. I grew up with, if you're going to lose weight, you have to do it in the field. You have to bale hay. You have to do this. So there is that very healthy, community out there.
You've worked with, over the years, worked with a lot of people in these various problems that you had to deal with. How is Charles different from others that you've worked with?
He's got an interesting personality, where he's a coach, but he seems sort of soft-spoken, but he hammers it. He fucking hammers it.
My daughter said he was like a drill instructor.
Yeah, and I have to say, when I met him at Arnold's. I meet a lot of big dudes at Arnold's and women. So when he came out to film the Men's Health thing, I'm like, holy hell, he is that guy. And my son was like, whoa, that's a big, So I knew I could tell enough about his life to know he's a very good guy, very honorable, got a great family. He's helped a lot of people, but I think he's impressive. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
He's an impressive dude, man. He walks the walk. He talks the talk. He's different. Maybe in L.A., you don't see a lot of guys like that.
What do you tell folks about Charles? Do you recommend him? Do you say to your friends who might need a little help, give this guy a call?
Always. And I say, guys, they're struggling. I say, I know an easier way. I know a way that works 100%. It's not this thing or getting this shot or doing this stuff. I very much recommend him to everyone.
What is next for you?
I want to stay on this. I want to get this minor back thing organized. I need to do more stretches. I need to do more stuff. So I'm going to do this tour until into the next year. And then we'll see. Whatever opportunities there are, I'm going to grab them. I feel very grateful. And, and then blocking out time for my kids.
I've only known you for an hour or so, but I have the feeling you're a much happier guy now than you were 3 years ago and before that.
Well, yeah, and I honestly was happier 3 years ago than I was 5 years before that. But just the idea of having my kids in the house, that's like, but then there's the responsibility. I got to keep it together. I have to be not only an example, but I got to live as long as I can. I got to be healthy. The best thing you could do, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, his son Christopher is the best looking of all of his kids, but he got very big, very big. I'd guess over 300 pounds. And Arnold, imagine having Arnold Schwarzenegger, your dad, when that's going on. And Arnold's like, there's nothing I could do. He's got to decide that he wants to do. I've tried this. I've tried that. And one day he did decide. And he's like, yeah, it turns out bread. And he lost all this weight. He's healthy. He's working out. And I thought, if Arnold's powerless, I think that's a good example. My son, I could say, well, let's do this stuff, or I could do it myself, and then he could, by attraction, go, that's what I want to do too.
Arnold's son sounds like Charles D'Angelo.
Yeah, it looked like he'd had. Yeah, Charles could do. I'm sure it's very satisfying being him. He's built this real business. Again, I was surprised it was a real business. I thought it was like in his garage or something. But it's a real deal, man.
Well, it's worked for you, and it's worked for a lot of people. And
it's worked for you, right?
Yeah, look at me.
Yeah, no, you look very freaking good, man.
Well, thank you.
You're inspirational, dude.
Thank you. You're my inspiration, Tom, now. Having talked to you for an hour, I see you're happy, you've got great kids, and you're looking good.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. You too.
Yeah. Good luck to you.
All right, man.
I hope you found that interview incredibly inspiring. If you're ready to transform your life like Tom has, visit charlesdangelo.com today and schedule your coaching consultation. That's charlesdangelo.com.